my son has now turned 5 years old, and that is crazy to me. Um, I can't believe that I have a 5 year old son. Like that just blows my mind. It's just crazy to me that I have a son who's going to be starting school soon, and he is his own little person. He's not a baby anymore. He is a boy. But I remember so distinctly being aware of Star Trek at 5 years old. And funnily enough, I mean, 1987 is when it was when I turned five. That will have been when the Next Generation came out, but it wasn't the Next Generation. I didn't really get to see the Next Generation. I'm in the UK. We get things years behind America at that point, back in the 80s and 90s, before the streaming age allowed us to all watch the same thing around the world at the same time. It used to be stuff would be shown in America. Maybe a year or two later, we'd get it in the UK. So my first sort of interaction with Star Trek wasn't the Next Generation, really. It was actually the movies, and I do remember the voyage home. That's the one I really really remember seeing first. The one with the whales, the comedy. I think that's probably helped that was the one that I saw first. As in terms of Star Trek, like I watched it and went, oh, what is this? Wait, they're in space now. This looks cool. So I think I was very lucky that was my introduction to Star Trek. And then, of course, from there, I ended up watching The Next Generation. I very vividly remember Worf being the character that I was drawn to first when it came to The Next Generation. So I was around 5 years old when I was aware of Star Trek. So I don't feel like right now that Jonah is too young to be watching this. If anything, I think 5 years old is probably the age that a lot of people got into Star Trek, whether it was the original series, or Next Generation, or any of the other subsequent series. I think 5 years old is when you start watching. You do typical. I mean, maybe it's because 80s and 90s parenting, and there wasn't this sort of streaming channels all the time where kids could just watch Paw Patrol back to back for an entire day. It is a lot. I mean, like if I'd been a lot young, if streaming is around in my time, at that age, yeah, I'd be watching Gummy Bears and DuckTales constantly. Well, actually, it would have been Gummy Bears. DuckTales was a bit later, but it would have been Gummy Bears constantly. Fraggle Rock would have been a non-stop loop, and Jonah does do that with certain shows like Paw Patrol, Batwheels, Spidey and His Amazing Friends. These are watched on a very, very regular basis. But what I'm loving is that it would be hard for me to introduce, say, hey, you've just watched like back to back Spidey's Amazing Friends, Bluey, Paw Patrol, and Hey Dougie. Why don't we watch 45 minutes of Data telling you what he's doing during his day? Like, no 5 year old is going to do that. It's wild to me to think that when I was 5 years old, I had to watch. I had no choice because TV was very much like what was on TV was what you watched. Now, that obviously subsequently led to more shared moments for people who'd be like, oh, did you watch that last night? Did you watch this last night? We were all aware of, especially in the UK, BBC Two, 6:45, Star Trek: The Next Generation, Simpsons on BBC Two as well. BBC Two had a lot. Simpsons, Buffy, Star Trek, all of these things. So, we had all these shared moments. Like, that doesn't happen nowadays. But what is beautiful in today's sort of streaming world is shows and franchises can take more risks. And I'm specifically talking here like Star Trek, and Star Wars has done it as well. Star Trek back in the 90s when I was growing up, when I was watching it, it was very much Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise. That was it. That's all you had. And it was very much tried to appeal to as many people as possible, but definitely you had to be above a certain age to really get into it, really enjoy it, really understand it. It wasn't aimed at kids. I know some people will turn around and say, but it was family viewing. Yeah, because there was nothing else as a family to watch. We didn't have the streaming services. Because I guarantee right now, if you walk into any family's home in the world, right, in the Western world who have streaming services, every family can now have their own family viewing. Like they can choose what they're going to be watching as a family at that moment in time. It's not going to be the same as next door. Whereas back in the 80s and 90s, it was the same. So, people say, oh, Star Trek was family viewing only because there was nothing else. That's the main reason. Now, that being said, what is great nowadays is because Star Trek can do things like Star Trek and Star Wars and Marvel as well can explore different avenues of storytelling because of streaming and the way it works. It means that you can have, like in this, with the newer Star Trek that we've got this day and age, we have got, of course, sort of Discovery, and you've got Strange New Worlds, which are your more traditional Star Trek episodes. Strange New Worlds more episodic, Discovery more of a serialization. You then got like Lower Decks, which is a comedy in the mold of Rick and Morty or Family Guy or Simpsons. And now we've got Prodigy, unfortunately only for 2 seasons, but we've got Prodigy, which is aimed at a younger audience. It's firmly aimed at a younger audience. Now, okay, granted, Jonah might be on the very young, like might be slightly below what the aim is, but the point is it's 20-minute episodes that are easy to get into, that are a lot of fun, that are very well written, and he's getting into Star Trek through that. And that makes me so happy that he has got a Star Trek that he can interact with. Because as I said, the world where everyone sits around and watches what's on TV at that moment as a family, as a shared experience, as a community, going into work, going to school the next day and saying, hey, did anybody watch this on BBC Two, on Channel 4 or whatever last night? That world doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. You go into the next day, it's like, oh yeah, I just binged this series. I've just watched this show. Have you watched it? No, I don't have that streaming service, or whatever conversation it could be. Oh, I heard about that. I'll check it out eventually. So that's gone. So now what I love is that I have a show like Star Trek Prodigy that I can share with Jonah. And for me, again, this is the second time I've ever watched this. So it feels brand new, even though I'm vaguely aware of what's happening. It feels brand new since it's been so long since I watched it, but at least I have this. I can take my time to watch Star Trek with him, with this show that is easier for him to get into, introduces him to the concepts of Star Trek, the technology, the idealism, all of that stuff. And he's having a great time watching it. And as I said, it has been a couple of weeks since we last watched some episodes together because of his birthday and going away. It's taken this episode of this podcast. He has been very quiet, but he got into it and he still enjoys it. He hums the theme tune in the same way that I hummed the Next Generation theme tune. He has a favorite character, Janeway, in the same way that Worf was mine. And Data, of course. Who doesn't love Data? But he has all of this stuff that we're sharing together, and I couldn't be happier. This is part of a longer podcast record, which you can check out on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any major podcasting platform. So please go check it out on there. Just search for My Next Generation. I'll pop a link in the description below. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm working towards 2,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and I'd love to have you on board. Thanks for watching.